check out all of these wildflowers. It's wildflower season in Colorado, and I'm up real high in the mountains right now in this meadow, surrounded by all these really awesome sunflowers, these little red flowers, purple flowers, there's Indian paintbrush, all kinds of super cool stuff. But this video takes place on the west coast of the United States in the awesome state of Washington, and I hope you like eagles because you're about to see a whole bunch of them. Come on. I arrive at first light. The air is cool and thick with moisture. Standing among a small group of flowers, I take in my surroundings. Sandwiched between the famous city of Seattle and the massive towering trees of the Olympic National Forest lies the Hood River Canal, a tidally influenced body of water that attracts a wide variety of impressive animals. It's high tide, and a small group of geese nervously swims across the open water. The vibrant trees along the shore mixed with the rising sun cast a beautiful reflection that covers the surface of the water with an amazing array of color. A seal decides to see what's happening above the waterline. Another seal lazily floats upside down and then slowly disappears below the surface. There is an entirely different world just below the surface of the water, and the tide rushing past this great blue heron is a really good sign that this area is about to undergo a massive change as all of the water just magically vanishes. The receding tide exposes thousands of oysters, and all kinds of creatures that were once underwater now scramble for safety because there are eyes watching from above. The great blue herons are first on scene, and they eagerly scan the water for food. They may be the first birds on the scene, but this gull is the first bird to strike blood as it pulls an unsuspecting fish from its once safe location of oysters. The gull knows that dry land is the safest place, so it flies in to give us a much closer look at its strange-looking catch. This is one weird-looking prehistoric fish, but what exactly is this fish the gull seems so proud of? Let's take a closer look. Wow, this is really one weird-looking fish, and check out the detail on that bird. The eye is looking right at us, and I think I know what this fish is. This is a plain fin midshipman, an amazing fish that sings and glows in the dark. This row of small dots on the side of the fish is the giveaway. These are photophores, a small organ that emits light. These fish might have some very strange qualities, but they help set the stage for an incredible demonstration of the food chain. A great blue heron is the next bird to pull a fat fish from the oysters, and this gives me the perfect opportunity to grab a few shots of the heron and the fish. There was some heavy cloud cover, so I shot with a wide aperture of f5 to get enough light while keeping the ISO on the low side. In the first shot, you can see the tip of the heron's beak poking through the fish. This should give the bird a strong enough grip, but the heron needs to rearrange the fish so it can go down head first, and it does this with a nice mid-air toss. Now the fish should go down much easier. Another heron a little further out has managed to catch a fish, but the herons here are not on the top level of the food chain. A much larger bird is also here for the feast, and that bird is the always impressive bald eagle. Experiencing and photographing one eagle is always great, but this location has several, and each eagle wants its own fish for breakfast, and they don't mind taking it from herons or other eagles. A young eagle uses a high vantage point to get a better view of the area. Its incredible eyesight spots a single fish among the gnarly tangle of razor-sharp oysters. It takes one good look at me, and I freeze that moment in time as our eyes lock. The young eagle then takes to the sky, and I grab a shot as it passes the snow-capped mountains in the background. The eagle descends lower, giving us an extremely impressive view of every single feather on its back, wings, and tail. Notice its tail and head feathers aren't quite white. That's how you can tell this bird is still young. An eagle's tail and head feathers don't turn solid white until they're about 5 years old, and this one is pretty close to that. Let's get a closer look at the underside of those wings as the eagle comes in for a landing. What an absolutely amazing looking bird. I mean, look at those big meaty legs, those awesome yellow feet, tipped with razor sharp talons that are as black as night. This landing was just a display. The young eagle didn't get a fish, but this won't be the last time we see this impressive bird. I glance to my right and notice 3 mature bald eagles decorating a large tree like Christmas tree ornaments. These eagles have a little more experience, and it isn't long before one comes screaming out of the tree at an amazing speed. It passes over the oysters and spots something below. The eagle puts on the brakes, banks, and changes direction in a matter of seconds. Time to put down the landing gear and somehow land on those razor-sharp oysters without slicing its feet apart. A perfectly executed flight, landing, and catch. This is one happy eagle. A much younger, very inexperienced eagle shows up on the scene. It cruises by looking for an easy meal, and something catches its eye down below. It's an adult eagle with a fish. Things are about to get very interesting. The great blue heron decides it would be best to flee. This bird is smart. The crow is very smart too. It knows what's about to happen, so it sits idly by. The young eagle turns and comes in for the attack. And this is what photography is all about. Look at this scene. What an incredible moment in time. The young eagle armed with outstretched, razor-sharp talons, and in order to defend itself, the adult eagle drops its fish and throws its wings up. The chase continues and gets airborne as the young eagle, full of angst and eager for anything to eat, pursues the adult higher and higher into the sky. And as a last-ditch effort at a meal, the young eagle attempts to take a bite out of the adult eagle's tail. Meanwhile, far below, the crow happily flies away with the fish that was lost in the battle. An absolutely incredible turn of events that transpired in a matter of seconds. Another experienced adult flies in for a closer look, and we get to see an amazing wing display. Here's something to think about. Adult bald eagles like this one have wingspans that range from 5 to 7.5 feet, or 1.5 to just over 2 meters. That's bigger than your average adult male human being. Wow. Let's get a closer look at that face. Oh man, that is the look of determination, and with this bird's age comes experience. It spots something down below and immediately changes direction in midair. This amazing aerial maneuver causes the eagle's legs to stick straight out, and the bird is now flying sideways as it banks and comes straight down. In this shot, you can see how the wings have gone back a little, and the bird is starting to right itself in the air. And now for the truly incredible part. This eagle somehow manages to come screaming in among all those razor-sharp oysters and just gingerly pluck a fish from the water like it is the easiest task in the world. This all happens in a matter of seconds and is far too fast for the human eye and brain to comprehend. Imagine what must be going on in that eagle's brain. Not only is it flying, but it also spots a fish from hundreds of feet away and somehow manages to pull it from the water with its feet. And here I am, the simple human being standing in the mud with a camera trying to grasp the magnitude of what has just happened. Wow. Bravo, eagle. Bravo. Another experienced adult comes flying in to give us a nice head-on approach. When the legs come out, you know something is about to happen. The eagle puts on the brakes with that full wing spread and turns ever so slightly. And then we get an excellent shot of the entire eagle. But look at those talons. Each one of those can be anywhere from 1 to 2 inches long or 2.5 to 5 centimeters. I definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of those. This eagle has a very different hunting method. It knows there is a fish hiding somewhere right below it in those oysters, so it patiently waits for the right moment to grab the fish, and it's a success. Now this bird knows that other eagles are watching, so it takes to the air with its catch, and it moves to a less popular area where it eagerly swallows the entire fish whole. Those other eagles can't take that fish if it's in this eagle's belly. I spot yet another adult eagle far off in the distance, and I can instantly tell that this bird is not fooling around. The body posture, the angle of descent, and the wings back can only mean one thing. This bird is building up some serious speed. As it drops down to the tree level, the angle of descent smooths out and the wings come out a little wider in order to slow down. But what is this eagle so interested in? And there it is. Another eagle on the ground readies for the incoming attack. The attacking eagle lowers its talons and prepares for impact, and at the last minute passes right by the eagle on the ground. Eagles rarely waste this much energy on a simple bluff, and this one isn't about to waste all that speed as it closes in on another completely unsuspecting eagle for the attack. You can actually hear this eagle streaking through the sky, and the impact of these two birds was just as impressive. In a tangle of talons and feathers, the two eagles negotiate who has rights to the best spot on the beach. Meanwhile, another adult eagle looks on from the foreground as a third eagle joins the other two on the beach. Absolutely incredible. And there's still more to come. Our almost adult eagle is back on the scene, and this time it has a crow in its sights. The crow, knowing it doesn't stand a chance against the eagle, drops its fish, and the young eagle happily scoops it up. But all this commotion has caught the attention of an experienced adult eagle who decides to fly in an attempt to steal the fish. The subadult quickly takes to the air and moves to another section of oysters with its catch, but the action continues as another different adult flies in and the subadult abandons his catch and flies further away. All of this action has caught the interest of the younger, inexperienced eagle, and even though the subadult no longer has a fish, the juvenile doesn't mind flying in for a confrontation. The subadult turns upside down and throws its talons in the air as the juvenile comes in fast. The juvenile flies past the subadult and grabs an entirely different fish, and this bird is so happy to have finally captured some food that it flies away clutching the fish with both talons. A well-deserved meal for this young bird. This time, a heron has managed a nice fish, and it holds it perfectly with its long spear-shaped beak. But this adult eagle knows an easy meal when it sees it. It takes to the air and comes screaming in towards the heron. Look at this eagle's face. That is a chilling stare, and if I was on the receiving end of that sinister gaze, I would be doing everything I could to get out of its way, and that is exactly what the heron is thinking as the eagle puts on the brakes and comes in. These two birds are now locked in some type of really strange dance. The eagle determined to get a fish, while the heron is determined to escape with its life. The heron takes to the air, leaving behind a trail of water droplets and its fish, while the eagle comes in with outstretched talons. Being able to stand on the muddy bank and see the spectacle unfold before me, and being able to capture it all in a series of images is an amazing experience. The eagle decides it has a better chance of keeping its food if it only has to deal with a couple of crows, so it relocates and comes flying proudly in with those massive talons ready to grip the oysters and its fish just dangling from its massive beak. What an amazing eagle experience in the state of Washington. Those eagles are absolutely amazing. One of my favorite birds. Easily the best eagle experience I've ever had. What did you think? Did you have like a favorite bird or a favorite situation that happened in this video? Let me know in the comment section below. And I really want to thank all of the photographers, the locals who were there on hand and led me around to the secret area where the lighting was the best. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you want to know how I set up and use my Nikon D850 for birds in flight, just like all of those eagles, I have a quick start guide that's available at my website. I'll put a link to it in the description below. I also have a book on bird photography, and that's available in print and digital, and I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. As always, click that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead. I got a lot of really cool stuff planned. And until next time, I'll see you later.